This is the Raiders Daily. The Academy Originals! It's the Academy Originals!
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the Raiders Daily Podcast. My name is Stephen Michaels. We are going to recap the 2-0 Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so the Raiders, as you know, opening night, Monday Night Football against the Ravens. No one gave the Raiders a chance, but in a wild game, a crazy game, the Raiders end up winning it in overtime, 33-27, in a game where everyone thought the game was over, when Bryan Edwards just decided to have his coming out party and destroy the Ravens defense. Nope, they make the Raiders go back onto the field after coaches have the headsets off, players are shaking hands, game's not over, Raiders go back out there, and what happens? Derek Carr throws an interception in the end zone after failing to make it in on a QB sneak, which I think he was in, but either way, he throws an interception. Now, if this was any other Raiders team, I think we would know what would happen next. The Raiders would end up losing the football game. Because, after all, the Ravens, at that point, all they needed was a field goal to win the football game. The next point, because it was in overtime now, would win the football game. But the Las Vegas Raiders, Carl Nassib, a guy who, the Raiders, let's be honest here, they were close to cutting him. They restructured his money, they did this, they did that with him. He was a healthy scratch for pretty much the entire season last year. He comes through in a big, big way, gets a strip sack off Lamar Jackson, and the Raiders get the ball back, and what do you know? Derek Carr to Zay Jones, touchdown. The Raiders walk off 33-27. They shock the world on Monday Night Football in Las Vegas. The fans go crazy. It was just a really, really good win for this team to start off this 2021 season on the right foot. They start off 1-0, beating the Ravens. No one gave the Raiders a chance in this game, even though it was in Las Vegas. It was first time the Raiders got to play in front of fans in Las Vegas. Nobody gave the Raiders a chance. After all, the Ravens are a playoff team. The Raiders are not. But the Raiders, they really showed up. And their defense, I mean, wow. Throw away what you knew about the Raiders' defense of last season and season before that. Paul Guenther is gone. He's working at Staples somewhere probably. Or somewhere. I don't know where he's working, but he shouldn't be working on any coaching staff. Because look what Gus Bradley was able to do. Now, this is a completely new defense. So you can't really compare this defense to any defense the Raiders had in the last couple of seasons. They have different players, they have different coaches, and they are a lot better. Their front four they probably have one of the most dominant front fours in all of football right now. At least right now. Now, I gotta caution everyone, it is early. That's why I am not going to get too high right now on this team. The Raiders were 6-3 2 years in a row, and look what happened. They collapsed. But I can tell you right now, they got 2 wins under their belt, and they're both against playoff teams. This season does feel a little bit different than previous seasons, but still, the Raiders must earn my confidence in them, because, like I said, they broke it 2 years in a row. I mean, how many times can someone punch you in the face before you say, hey, I'm being punched in the face? So, the Raiders, they got to prove that they can continue to win, especially in the second half of the season. We're only 2 games in, but you can't take away what the Raiders have done. They beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football 33-27. Then, on a short week for the Raiders, they travel across the country to play the Pittsburgh Steelers in a 1 p.m. game, an early game for the Raiders. That's a 10 a.m. game for the Raiders. Nobody, again, is giving the Raiders a chance. The Steelers are 1-0. The Raiders are 1-0. Steelers were a favorite. No one thought the Raiders could beat the Steelers in Heinz Field. The Steelers, you got to remember, this is a team, another playoff team. They were 11-0, I believe, at one point last season. The Raiders go into Heinz Field, and the Raiders defense just completely demolishes the Steelers. They demolished them. Big Ben didn't know what to do. He was rattled. He got hit 10 times. 10 quarterback hits, 2 sacks. The Raiders defense is just a different defense than we have seen in a long time. These are playmakers, and guys are stepping up that, the Raiders, you would not have thought would be stepping up. Guys like Carl Nassib. But what about guys like Max Crosby? What about guys like Denzel Perryman, Nate Hobbs, even Corey Littleton? Everyone was ready to give up on Corey Littleton, including me. He's looking a lot better this season. It's clear that Gus Bradley puts his guys in the best position to succeed. It's very clear. KJ Wright is a huge addition to the Raiders. Is making this team look so much better. So much better. One guy who I think really transformed this defense is Casey Hayward Jr. He was all over the place against Pittsburgh. All over the place. He was making plays. He was just phenomenal in this game. But the whole defense, like I said, the front four of this defense right now, we're only 2 games in, but I'm telling you, if they can play like this all season, the Raiders are going to be a problem for every team they face. They are undefeated right now. They have the Miami Dolphins coming up next, a game where great teams beat bad teams, and the Raiders should be able to destroy Miami. This game's in Vegas. If the Raiders lose this game, then it's a typical Raiders loss. And then we're going back to the, what is this team, basically? So, what I'm hoping is the Raiders take care of business when it needs to be taken care of. You look at the best teams in the NFL. When they play against a bad team, what happens? They blow them out. I expect the Raiders to blow out the Miami Dolphins next Sunday. But let's talk about this victory against the Steelers. I talked about the Ravens victory. I know I didn't do a public recap show. So, really quickly, I'll just give you quick thoughts on the first game before I get to the Steelers really quick. The Ravens game, Derek Carr comes out. He was very, very shaky early on. It wasn't looking good. They were trying to get the ball to Waller, I think, way too much in that game. Wasn't looking good at all. But he regrouped, and he got better, especially in the third and fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, Derek Carr came alive, in my opinion, and in, obviously, overtime. That's when he came alive. He ended that day 34 for 56, 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, and, of course, he threw that interception in the end zone after the Raiders already thought they won the game, and then had Carl Nassib saves the day for the Raiders by strip-sacking Lamar Jackson, and then, of course, Zay Jones wide open as the Ravens looked like almost looked like a zero blitz, an all-out blitz on Derek Carr, just like the Jets did last season. Zay Jones was wide open. Touchdown. Raiders win. They beat the Ravens. No one thought they could. And then, of course, the Steelers. Like I mentioned, no one believed the Raiders could win this game either. And they do. Derek Carr goes 28 for 37, 382 yards. He was averaging 10.3 yards a throw. The Raiders were all over the Steelers in this game. All over. The score is 26-17, but let me tell you, the score does not tell the story. The Raiders were a more physical, more dominant team on offense and defense. The Steelers, they tried to take Darren Waller away as much as they could. He still had 5 catches for 65 yards. And they still couldn't take him out completely. Henry Ruggs, wide open. This guy ran 24 or 21 miles per hour. That's how fast that he ran on that play. 21 miles per hour. And, wide open touchdown. If he can do that every game, who is going to keep up with this guy? Nobody. Nobody. So here's the hoping that Henry Ruggs can get open like this more and more. Because if he can, this team is going to be very, very good. As long as we don't get any collapse by this team, as long as they stay on track. And right now, I'm telling you, it feels different. It really does. I know we're only 2 games in. I don't want to... I'm not going to predict anything. Only 2 games, way too early. They have to earn it, and they have not earned it for me to say, oh yeah, this team is going to go ahead and be a playoff team. I'm not saying that, no way. Even though they beat 2 playoff teams, the two wins the Raiders have are way more impressive than the 2 wins the Broncos have. I mean, look at the Broncos. They're 2-0. They really are 2-0. That team is the worst 2-0 team in the NFL, in my opinion. Meanwhile, you got the Raiders, who beat the Ravens and the Steelers back to back. Not a lot of teams can say they did that. Not a lot of teams can do that in the NFL. And the Raiders beat the Steelers on a short week. They had this thriller on Monday Night Football, then traveled to Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers in their own stadium in front of their steel curtain. Is that what they call themselves? They beat them. They destroyed them. Ben Roethlisberger was under attack pretty much the entire game. Like I mentioned, 10 quarterback hits. The Raiders get 2 sacks. They were just collapsed in the pocket. This guy, he was frustrated all game long. And what about guys like Casey Hayward Jr.? This guy was on fire yesterday. What a big pickup for the Raiders. This defense is just completely different than any defense the Raiders have ever had. Or not ever, sorry. Ever had under John Gruden. This isn't Paul Guenther's defense. Paul Guenther, I don't know where that guy is. If he's working at a Staples or something, or I don't know. But wherever the hell he is, keep him away. Because Gus Bradley knows how to put his guys in the best position to succeed. I mean, even guys like Jonathan Abram, who, you know, wasn't so great last season. Now, they put him in the box. He just looks so much better this year. Because he's with a good coach. This Gus Bradley knows how to get the best out of these players. Plus, the Raiders, I mean, they got all new players on defense, mostly. They still got Max Crosby, who's having a hell of a season, by the way. But, you know, you bring in Yannick Ngakoue. You have KJ Wright at linebacker. You have Denzel Perryman, who played fantastic against the Steelers. He was just all over the place making tackles, that guy. This team is just completely different. Quentin Jefferson. I mean, the list goes on and on. Nate Hobbs is really starting to show up. He's really starting to show up, especially in the slot when they do those little blitzes. We're going to see a lot more Nate Hobbs throughout the season. I think that's a guy Raider fans should really keep their eyes on. Trayvon Moehrig has been doing his job. The Raiders, pretty much, their defense is working because of no mental errors. If you remember, in the past, you had Eric Harris and, Jeff Heath, and they're just running around not knowing where they're supposed to be, what their assignments are. So complicated, no one knew what the hell they were doing. Gus Bradley brings a very basic, simple cover 3 to cover 2 defense that the Raider players can understand. He brings in guys that are very familiar with his defense, like a KJ Wright, like a Casey Hayward Jr., like a Denzel Perryman. He brings in his guys, and it works. You mix that in with the guys the Raiders already had, and guess what? It's a recipe for success. The Raiders are 2-0 right now. And it's not like they beat scrub teams, like I said. They beat the Steelers and the Ravens. And the Ravens, on a side note, defeat the Kansas City Chiefs last night. So that means the Raiders right now are in first place of the AFC West. Yes, it's still early. Yes, this team needs to show us they can do this throughout the season. But I gotta tell you, Henry Ruggs running 21 miles per hour, wide open like that shows me a sign of confidence. Hunter Renfrow continuously getting open. Darren Waller showing that he should be labeled the best tight end in the National Football League. And the Raiders beat the Steelers with no Josh Jacobs. They didn't have a running back. They had Kenyon Drake, but Kenyon Drake is not a guy who is like a workhorse running back like Josh Jacobs is. Kenyon Drake is a guy you throw screen passes to. So they pretty much had a non-existent run game. They had Peyton Barber as their running back. The guy had 13 carries for 32 yards. Pretty much it was, in this game against the Steelers, it was all passing. Derek Carr had to win the game by throwing the ball in the air, and the defense had to play outstanding, and that's exactly what they did. If you're a Raider fan, be excited right now. Don't get too carried away because the Raiders are, after all, only 2-0, and they have to prove it. Now, some things we should talk about that do worry me is the offensive line, especially Alex Leatherwood, the Raiders' first-round pick. This guy struggled against the Ravens, and he was struggling against the Steelers, especially when T.J. Watt was in the game. Luckily for the Raiders, T.J. Watt ends up getting injured, and he's out of the game. That helped out the Raiders tremendously, in my opinion. And the Raiders were able to, go through the game there. And Alex Leatherwood in this game gets taken out. And who comes in? Brandon Parker. And he looks leaps and bounds better than Alex Leatherwood. Now, here is the knock on Alex Leatherwood. This is something I've been telling you guys since he was drafted by the Raiders. And it looks like it's coming true, showing us right now, right in front of our eyes right now. The knock on Alex Leatherwood coming out of the draft was he got away with a lot of holding at Alabama. Mac Jones, he gets the ball out of his hands fast. But even with that, that's always been the knock on Alex Leatherwood. A lot of scouts said that. There should have been a lot more flags called. He holds, he grabs way too much. And in the NFL, that's going to come back to maybe haunting him. And it is haunting the Raiders. Because Alex Leatherwood, he took away a touchdown, I believe, in the first game and against the Steelers. Stupid penalties, jumping off sides, holding, just dumb things. He doesn't look confident out there. He really doesn't. And I don't think Derek Carr feels that confident with Alex Leatherwood there. Now, I can't speak for Derek Carr, obviously, and he's never going to say it, even if that's true. That's obvious. But once Brandon Parker got in that game yesterday, I don't know. To me, Derek Carr looked a lot more comfortable. Now, we did have a scary moment in the game against the Steelers when Derek Carr threw a perfect pass to Foster Monroe for a touchdown. Derek Carr goes down, grabbing his leg. It looked like, oh no, here we go. Here we go again. The Raiders have some momentum. They're finally looking good, and their quarterback gets hurt. And guess what? Marcus Mariota's on IR, so you're not going to get Marcus Mariota coming in and saving the day. You have nobody. You have Nathan Peterman, who, God bless his soul, I don't think Nathan Peterman's going to be leading the Raiders to the Super Bowl anytime soon. So you don't really have a quarterback. Luckily, Derek Carr seemed to be all right. Probably just has a sprained ankle. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not the doctor. But he didn't miss any plays. Went back out there. Looked like he was running okay. After his press conference after the game, he was limping a little bit. But like I said, they wrapped his ankle up and it didn't seem like it was affecting his throwing ability or anything like that. So I think the Raiders will be okay. And they have to, because remember, Marcus Mariota is on IR. It's not like this guy, he's going to be out for a few weeks. So Derek Carr has to stay healthy no matter what. There is no other option there. And Derek Carr has been playing well. Like I said, he struggled in the first game, especially in the first half. But that is to be expected. Remember, these guys had no preseason reps at all, which I think is a mistake. I really do. You're just sending guys out there cold. They have no live action. And you can't duplicate a real game feel unless you're in a preseason game. At least you're actually playing against an opponent. There's fans out there. You're on a football field. practice is not the same. A scrimmage is not the same. So I think, John Gruden should have had his starting unit at least play a series, to get used to the speed of the game. At least for guys like Alex Leatherwood. I mean, this guy, I don't think he's ready to be out there just yet. Now, the Raiders are saying he's injured. That's why he was taken out of the game. I don't know if I even buy that. I don't know what his injury is. But whatever it is, let him rest for a little while because this team looks a lot better with Brandon Parker in the game. And I never thought I would ever say that in my life, but Tom Cable is an offensive line genius. I mean, obviously. I mean, look at this. I mean, who would have thought Brandon Parker would turn out to be any good? But he looks way better than Alex Leatherwood. Alex Leatherwood has been not looking good. He's too shaky, too many penalties. It's not looking good on that side. So with Brandon Parker, Derek Carr looks more comfortable, and I think that's the direction the Raiders have to go. Hey, maybe Alex Leatherwood just needs, he doesn't mean he's going to be a bust, but maybe he needs to sit for a little while and watch. Because right now, he's a liability. I mean, teams are going to, if you watch the first game against the Ravens, I mean, they were going after him left and right, Alex Leatherwood. And Derek Carr was feeling the pressure. Patrick Queen was rushing right by Alex Leatherwood. And plus, Alex Leatherwood, it seems like he has a hard time opening up holes for the running back. Now, the Raiders beat the Steelers without Josh Jacobs. Next week against Miami, I expect the Raiders to beat Miami. Great teams beat bad teams. There is no reason why a team who just beat the Ravens and the Steelers lose against the Miami Dolphins, especially when the Raiders are playing at home in Las Vegas. And Miami, their starting quarterback is injured. He might play, he might not play. Their backup is Jacoby Brissett. There's no reason to lose against the Miami Dolphins, who just got blown out by the Buffalo Bills. I believe it was like 35-0. I mean, there is absolutely no reason. So that's why I say we got to wait and see with this team. Yes, it's exciting that they beat two playoff teams back to back, and this defense does look better than it has in a long time. But we have to see if they can be consistent. We have to see if they can keep this winning going. And like I said, they have to win these games they're supposed to win. They didn't do this last season. If you remember, they got off to a good start. They beat the Saints, and then they ended up losing against the Patriots, who are awful. Then they got shellacked against Buffalo. That is not acceptable. We need a team that is consistent and just keeps stacking up these wins. And they can't collapse. 2 years in a row, we've seen a team, start off hot. They're 6-3 and just completely fall on their face. Now, I gotta say, this does feel a little bit different because this defense does look so dominant, but I don't want to jump ahead. I don't want to, be that sucker and take the bait here. So what we need to see out of this Raiders team is for them to go up against the Dolphins and Vegas and handle their business. We need to see this team, this Raiders team, just dominate Miami, because that's what good teams do. They win when they're supposed to win. You don't see, Tampa Bay losing against the Atlanta Falcons or anyone like that. No. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And that's what the Raiders have to do. If the Raiders want to be taken seriously as a threat, and right now they should be. They're 2-0. Like I said, they beat two playoff teams. They beat the Ravens, and by the way, the Ravens beat the Chiefs last night, which means the Raiders are in first place in the AFC West. So the Raiders have a golden opportunity here to go 3-0 against a really bad Miami Dolphins team. And, you need to respect this team. The Raiders do look a lot better right now, but I just don't. We need to see how they play here. We need to see what they do. We need to see this team start stacking up these wins and stay consistent and stay dominant the way they've been. And Alex Leatherwood, like I said, that was a negative area I was a little concerned with. But with him being injured or out or whatever the hell they did, they may have benched him for all I know. If they did, it was the right move. With Brandon Parker in there, Richie Incognito, he might be back against the Dolphins. That's going to be a big confidence booster. Josh Jacobs probably will be back against the Dolphins. The Raiders should be able to just destroy Miami. They really should. And then we'll take it from there. We'll see how far this team can go and continue to win. But you can't lie. You can't lie. So far, it's been impressive. It's been very impressive beating two playoff teams, beating the Steelers on a short week, and this defense is eating. They are just eating. Their front four, right now, they're looking like one of the best front fours in all of the NFL. So hopefully they take advantage of this and they destroy Miami next week. Like I said, it's in Vegas, because after that, remember, they're going to have a Monday night football game against the LA Chargers in a big AFC West matchup. That's a game, another game the Raiders need to win. The games the Raiders need to win, they have to win. They can't do this shit where they're great for 6 games and then fall apart. They need to consistently win. That's why I say celebrate. Be happy after every victory. But don't get ahead of yourselves. Don't start calling them a playoff team. They have to earn that from all of us. Everyone who watches this team, everyone who invests in this team or buys a Raiders t-shirt, they owe it to us to win football games. The quarterback gets $120 million. We expect him to win championships. So hopefully everything is coming together now. We got a coach who's getting paid $100 million. Hopefully this is his vision. Hopefully this is what he's been working for. Hopefully this is what we've been waiting for. And so far, we got to say, we're off to a good start, everyone. The Raiders look dominant, and their defense looks better than it has in a long, long time. Max Crosby to Yannick Ngakoue to KJ Wright to Denzel Perryman to Casey Hayward Jr. They are clicking on all cylinders on defense. And on offense, I think they're just getting started. And that's the scary part, guys. This offense, I think, can be even better, and they will be better. All right, everyone, that is it for me. I will see you guys next week after the Raiders take on and better destroy the Miami Dolphins. My name is Steven Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily.